I had always believed that the forest was a place of peace, a sanctuary from the noise of the world. But Black Hollow changed everything I thought I knew. It started like any other weekend getaway. I packed my gear and drove out toward the mountains, seeking a quiet escape from the city's endless hum. The locals had warned me about Black Hollow Forest, about how people went in and never came back, about shadows moving between the trees. I laughed it off. Every town had its ghost stories. I didn't believe in them. I parked my car near an old dirt road, strapped my backpack on, and began the hike into the woods. The deeper I walked, the quieter it became. No birds. No wind. Just a dense, pressing silence. By dusk, I found a clearing surrounded by tall pines. I set up my tent, lit a small campfire, and settled in with a cup of coffee. The air was still. Too still. Around midnight, I woke up, not to any sound, but to a feeling. A presence. My skin prickled, and my heart thudded in my ears. I sat up slowly, trying to shake off the dread. Then I saw it. A tall, shadowy figure stood just outside my tent. It didn't move. It didn't speak. It simply watched. I froze. The fire had long died out, but the figure was clear against the dim moonlight. I reached for my flashlight with shaking hands, flicked it on, and the figure was gone. I laughed nervously, convincing myself it was my imagination. But I couldn't shake the unease. I stayed up the rest of the night, gripping my flashlight. Morning came. I forced myself out of the tent, only to find footprints, human footprints, circling my campsite. I packed up and left, but the feeling never left me. Even now, years later, sometimes I feel eyes on me, in places I shouldn't. And I wonder, did I ever really leave Black Hollow? When my grandfather passed away, he left me his cabin in the woods, a place I'd visited only once as a child. I remembered it as old, cozy, a bit creepy maybe, but nothing alarming. I drove up on a Friday night. The air was thick, the forest silent. I stepped inside the cabin, dust filling my nostrils, the wooden floorboards creaking under my feet. It smelled like age, and something else. Something sour. I brushed it off and began cleaning. By nightfall, I had made the place somewhat livable. I poured myself a drink, sat by the fireplace, and tried to relax. That's when I heard it, a faint whisper. At first, I thought it was wind leaking through the cracks. But it wasn't. The voice came from beneath the floor. He's here. I froze. My heart pounded. I pressed my ear against the floorboards. There it was again, whispers. Soft. Murmuring. Don't let him leave. I jolted back, heart racing. I told myself it was just the house settling, an old cabin making noises. But that night, I couldn't sleep. The whispers grew louder, circling beneath the floor, moving beneath me. At dawn, I decided to rip up the floorboards. I pried open one, only to find nothing but dirt beneath. Yet the whispering continued. I ran. I locked the door and never went back. Now, sometimes, when I'm alone in my apartment, I still hear them. Whispering, under my feet. There's a legend about Ravenwood Forest. They say the trees remember you. They whisper your name if you stay too long. I didn't believe it, until I experienced it myself. I was an amateur photographer, always looking for the perfect shot. Ravenwood was famous for its haunting beauty, untouched by human hands. I packed my gear and hiked deep into the woods one cloudy morning. At first, it was like any other forest. Birds chirping. Leaves rustling. Then I heard it. Michael. I spun around. No one. The forest was empty. I shook it off, blaming my mind. But as I walked deeper, I heard it again, my name, whispered softly from the trees. Michael. I felt the hairs on my neck rise. I turned to leave, but every path I took led me back to the same clearing. The whispering grew louder. Closer. The trees seemed alive, watching. I ran. I ran until my legs burned. But I never left the forest. When I finally collapsed in exhaustion, I noticed something on my arm, words carved into my skin, "Welcome back, Michael." I screamed. The forest echoed my cry, in whispers. I don't know how I got out. I woke up in my bed the next morning. But every night since, I hear them calling me back. And I know, someday, I will answer. We left that place in silence. My grandmother and I hurried through the woods, neither of us daring to speak much. There were bodies. Bones, organs. I can't explain it, I whispered, my voice shaking. Oh dear God, she murmured, gripping my hand tighter. We made it back to her house before I called the police. I had to guide them to the ruins we found. One of the officers, a young guy, gagged when he caught a whiff of that sickening stench. As I watched them standing there, covering their faces, something clicked in my mind. A memory, or maybe a nightmare. I remembered this place. It wasn't my first time here. I remembered being brought into that house, by my grandmother. Or, by someone pretending to be her. She had led me into the basement, back when everything looked normal. No bodies. Empty shelves. She gave me mushroom soup that night. I ate it, and then everything went black. I woke up strapped to a wooden table in that same basement. The air was ice cold. My clothes were gone. I felt a sharp pain in my chest. I tried to lift my head, to scream, but I was too weak. I remember crying. I remember the sound of footsteps, voices. Are you here, Mark? Mark, where are you? I heard them above me, searchers. People looking for me. Then a woman sighed. He's not here. No. Let's go. I tried to scream, nothing came out. That's where the memory ended. Mark. I blinked. The young officer was looking at me. Huh. Yeah. You okay? Just, remembered something, I said softly. He nodded and went back to his partner. I stared at the forest, a knot tightening in my stomach. I couldn't shake the feeling, we were being watched. All right, we called for backup, the officer said. This is too big for us. I nodded and followed them out. The feeling of eyes on my back didn't leave until we reached the edge of the woods. Later that day, I hugged my grandmother goodbye and went home. I told my wife everything. She was horrified. That night, I dreamt again. But it wasn't like before. I was back in that basement. The same cold walls, the same silence. I heard footsteps above me, and they terrified me. Then they faded away. New footsteps followed, lighter, smaller. The hidden door creaked open. A boy appeared, wild brown hair, ragged clothes, and a smile. Let's go, he said. I woke up gasping. I can't remember his face. Only his messy hair, and that haunting smile. Who is he? Why am I remembering all this, now? I still don't know what happened to me during that missing month. I don't know why I forgot everything. But I'm going back into that forest. I need answers. And when I find them, I'll let you know. I don't know when I stopped believing this was all a coincidence. Laura sat in front of me, her pen moving in calculated strokes across a thin notepad. The fluorescent light above us flickered, humming in the cramped interrogation room. Her eyes never left the page, though I felt them watching me, waiting. What was it? I asked cautiously. She finally looked up. A presence. Like something was following us. I frowned. And you're writing that down? She nodded. I document everything. I pointed to the dusty camera bolted in the corner. Then what's that for? Laura paused, glancing over her shoulder. It's broken. Then, seamlessly, do you remember anything else? I leaned back in the stiff chair. Memories clouded my mind like fog, intangible but lingering. Last night, I dreamt of the cabin again. The basement. But this time, there was a boy, around my age. He tried to help me. Her expression shifted subtly. Another boy? Yeah. He was dirty, clothes torn, hair a mess. But, it felt more than a dream. She pulled a photo from her folder and slid it across the table. Was it him? I picked it up. A boy in red overalls smiled broadly, his eyes, blurred beyond recognition. I'm not sure. I couldn't see his face clearly. Laura's gaze pierced through me, her eyes narrowing slightly. Who is he? I asked. A missing boy, from the same period you disappeared. Did he come back? She shook her head, jotting more notes. The weight of silence pressed heavily in the room. I snapped. What's going on here? What does my disappearance have to do with those bodies in the cabin's basement? Laura didn't answer. Frustrated, I slammed my hand on the table. Damn it. Talk to me. Finally, she nodded, but not at me. At the mirror behind me. A door clicked. Then another. The lock slid open with metallic clanks. From the hidden doorway stepped a tall man in a sleek black suit, a polished cane in his hand. His top hat sat perfectly atop jet black hair. But it was his eyes, a deep, unnatural crimson, that froze my blood. Pleasure, Mark. I'm Lucifer. My throat tightened. He stepped forward, his smirk never faltering. The bodies and organs you mentioned, all gone. By the time investigators arrived, the cabin collapsed. Only the stench remained. I stammered. So, someone covered it up. We don't know, Laura answered. All we have are your statements, your grandmother's, and the two officers. Lucifer turned his attention to Laura. Where are those officers now? They requested leave, staying home this weekend. Send someone to check on them, he ordered. I couldn't tear my gaze from him. His eyes. I'd seen them before. Have we met? I blurted. I don't believe so, Lucifer replied nonchalantly. But I knew. I knew those eyes. Memories hit me like a tidal wave, the basement, chains biting into my skin, the suffocating darkness. The boy with the wide grin, and those glowing red eyes. I remembered him freeing me, helping me dress. His grip on my hand as we fled into the woods. The dark. The fall. The searing pain in my chest. The blood. Come on, it's following us, the boy had screamed as he dragged me up. A howl, inhuman, bone-chilling, echoed behind us. We hid in the bushes, the pain in my chest intensifying. I remember the boy's hand clamping over my mouth to muffle my cries. Then. Mark. Laura's hand rested on my shoulder. You're free to go. I blinked. Was it a memory, or something else entirely? Lucifer was gone. Laura guided me to the elevator. The code is 8473, she said, offering a rare, thin smile. As the doors slid shut, I murmured, the boy, he had the same red eyes. The ride felt endless. At the lobby, two men in black waited. As they led me out, a thought gnawed at me. How long was I in there? I asked. They exchanged wary glances. 9 hours. 9 hours. I swallowed the lump in my throat and walked to my car. Before heading home, I swung by a toy store. Barely made it before closing. Picked up a cheap Lego set for Liam. He loved Legos. When I got home, my wife glared at me. Where were you? You ignored all my calls. I checked my phone. Over a dozen missed calls. Messages. I sighed. I'm sorry. I kissed her forehead. Liam drew something for you. It's on the kitchen counter. Dinner's in the fridge. I nodded, apologizing again, and headed to the kitchen. There it was, Liam's drawing. I turned it over, and felt the blood drain from my face. Two boys, surrounded by green scribbles. One clutching his stomach, red spilling from him. The other, red eyes glaring, covering the other's mouth. Exactly like my vision. My hand trembled as I held the crayon drawing. How could Liam have known? Was he in danger? Were we all? That night, sleep evaded me. My mind raced. How did I survive with no scars? Why did Liam draw that? Who is Lucifer? And why did the boy who saved me have his eyes? I'm going to wake Liam now. I need answers. And maybe, just maybe, Liam's drawing is the key to everything. Thank you for subscribing to Nightmare Whispers. If you've made it this far, your support means the world. Stick around, because this story isn't over. Not yet.